Okay, this is my last video and I really gotta go to bed. Here's the thing, white nationalist. Here's the hypocrisy. I'm sure that I'm not the only black person. I'm sure there's just as many white people who see this too. Here's the thing why people don't take many of you seriously. And I'm not saying that all white nationalists do this, but most of the vocal white nationalists do this. Most of the vulgar white nationalists do this in some context. Some white nationalists are not necessarily vulgar, but the ones who are more aggressive. I'm not going to say names. You guys can figure it out yourself. When a white person disagrees with you, it seems that you use the word brainwashed a lot. But when a black person disagrees with you, far more likely that person is dumb. It doesn't matter what the reasons are. I mean, if Jack Doodle was white, you would say that Jack Doodle was brainwashed. RV, I believe that you would say he was brainwashed. I don't believe that you would say you don't necessarily call him dumb, but you wouldn't try to underrate his intelligence. Even though I know that he'd try to attack you. I guess you feel he tried to attack you. I'm not gonna say, I don't know. But in your mind, you believe that he attacked you. I don't know but I haven't really followed your discussions between you and Jack Doodle. But that's what I believe. And you're not the only one. Many other white nationalists are like that. Berserker 793. Blacks have no capacity to understand race realism. While if there was a white person, he probably would say that person is brainwashed. That's a problem, because blacks have used the same arguments. I haven't even mimicked arguments. I've used arguments that I created on my own to debate race realism. You haven't really used the word dumb, but I'm sure you guys will say I'm dumb behind my back. But if a white person uses the same arguments, gold, even the intellectuals, if they use the same argument, they're pathetic. They just feel sorry for Negroes. I guess it's quite natural. You're white and you want to convince whites, and you need to be more polite toward whites. So it does make sense, but really people still see the double standard. Because if blacks use the same argument against you, they're no different than whites using the same argument against you. And they have. Whites have called you nice names, but it clearly, I think Clean Luke mentioned like the droids on this channel. Like, it's all these black people. Well, hey, one of your white nationalists wanted these black people to come on. You don't want to talk. Why even bother to talk to blacks? I mean, they're not the ones that are going to change anything. They're statistically in numbers inferior to whites. Whites have more numbers. Why don't you guys waste your time talking? Why don't you guys invest your time talking to them? It's apparently many of you still want to prove to yourself, or still want to prove to your clique, that this is why, because these blacks don't understand race realism and the image, their behavior differences, and this shows that they're stupid, and that's why, perhaps we need to exterminate them. You're not saying that. Exterminate them. Perhaps maybe we need to deport them. Okay, these reasons are now justified because we've talked to these Negroids. We showed them that they're inferior, and they refuse to listen to logic. While whites are just brainwashed. But Kobe Daggett sees whites as just brainwashed. Blacks who he tries to convince are just dumb. Double standard. You guys are clearly biased. Um, you have a political agenda, and that's not seen by blacks. That's not in what blacks. I'm not talking about what blacks are thinking. I'm talking about what most whites are going to think. Yeah, you can point out, RV, that whites don't want to be around a lot of black people, which is true. You can point out that whites discriminate and have these same stereotypes just like you do, which is true. But in theory, they're not going to agree with you. That's where you're going to get killed. They will never agree with you because how you present yourself. If you guys would present, I mean, and I'm just saying that. I'm probably not. I'm not saying you personally, RV. I would probably say your colleagues. There's some colleagues that can present themselves right, but most of them, a vast majority of them, don't. And you can point out the fact that black nationalists don't behave perfectly. Well, the black nationalists are not the dominant race nationalist group on YouTube. I haven't seen one black nationalist video. So, white nationalists, you guys want to secede, so you guys got to clean up your act. Calling blacks dumb because they don't agree with your viewpoint, while you call whites brainwashed, will only expose your double standard and your racist attitude. It's a racist attitude. I mean, it's a retarded racist attitude because if blacks are using the same arguments against you as your white counterparts, because in the arguments I've used, I mean, I'm not going to say all white nationalists have said I'm dumb, but your little trolls have said that I'm dumb. All my arguments have not come from Afro-Bozos. They've come from white intellectuals that have studied anthropology and evolutionary theory too as well. So if you guys want to play, and I'm saying the white nationalists who want to call blacks dumb for disagreeing with them or use racial slurs, you guys want to do that, call blacks racial slurs, and you think you're going to increase your popularity, go right ahead. It's on my side, buddy. I mean, the more racial slurs that you guys use, the more you're going to be digging yourself in a hole. So you want to use the N-word every time a black person doesn't disagree with you, while you just call whites brainwashed, and you think it's not racist when basic fact it is, go right ahead. And I think that's enough I gotta say, but I mean, I would like to hear some explanations why I continue to see, blacks being using they use racial slurs against blacks and pose the same arguments, and whites who don't, whites who pose the same arguments are brainwashed. Have a nice day.